Hello and welcome to Money Pile Monday, where I am trying to turn my death pile into dollars by actually getting it listed. And please be rest assured that I did actually do this last week, but the video didn't happen because the video has been lost into the ether due to the fact that my computer died last week and I lost about 2 weeks of video footage in addition to all of Thriftmas footage, in addition to the last 5 months of completed videos. I'm very sad, but we are going to move on. Fortunately, I did have a little bit of footage from last week on the Google Drive, so I can still take you on a field trip. I'll do that about midway through the video. But I have decided this week to get into my giant hoard of vintage clothing and start getting some of that listed. So this is everything from that giant vintage haul I did at an estate sale. Pretty much everything that I sell from this haul is pure profit because I already made all of my money back from that vintage sale on Whatnot. So everything you see here listed is going to be pure profit once it sells, and about halfway through I will let Other Bob take you on a field trip that she went on last week, where she got 5 books out of my death pile in addition to some bonus books. So first thing I'm going to show you is this vintage Prestige of Boston skirt. This lady in the 60s, well, so this was a household that had vintage clothing from the 50s to the modern era, and she was very tiny up until about the 90s, in which case she became a size small woman. So everything is very small downstairs. So this is a 26-inch waist skirt. It does have pockets. This is from the 70s. It is a nice midi length pencil skirt. It is striped. It has a split back so you could actually walk in it. And I finally got that listed, but we're gonna go through a bunch of skirts first. Let me just go ahead and preface that. So this is Country Sophisticates, which is a Pendleton brand. This is a silk blend. Again, size 26-inch waist, also with the pockets. And it's pink and gray and white, very Barbie-core, very cute. And this is a silk blend, so it's polyester, rayon, and silk. And it has a texture to it that makes it look pilled, but it's not. That's actually how it's supposed to be. Again, has a split back so you can walk, and is listed. So this didn't have a jacket that went with it, or if there is a jacket that went with it, I didn't grab it, or I couldn't find it, or whatever. But it doesn't matter because there are a couple of sets in here that I listed, but unfortunately the jacket is a size small, and a size 26 waist is technically extra small for modern standards, so I had to list them separately, which is both a good and a bad thing because I had to do double the listing. But we'll see if that works out for me. So this is another Made in USA. This is Country Suburbans. This does not have any pockets, but it is a beautiful blue plaid, again with the interesting texture there. This doesn't have a material tag, but it does have a union tag. So this is the 70s to 90s union tag. Again with the split back, and considering it is a size 26, I went with the 70s for this. I don't know if that is accurate or not, but that's a good guess. Another beautiful 70s piece. This is gorgeous. I wish this was my size. Even though I don't like pink, I would totally keep this because it's a beautiful mauve color, but it's just gorgeous, swishy pleated skirt with an elastic waistband. It's still size 26, but it opens up enough to where you can get it on maybe if you don't have the giant butt I have. I mean, I would have to put this on over my head in order to get it on at all. But the brand is Trissy. And again, this is just beautifully swishy, very Barbie-core, unbelievably cute. And I really hope somebody picks this up because it's just adorable. This is a wool polyester blend. Another skirt. This is Cret, which is another vintage brand, but this is from the 90s. It does have a belt attached to it. So it comes with its original belt. It has a zip back, and this does not have pockets. So you get a belt, but you don't get pockets. Out of the two of those, I prefer the pockets. But there's this bright red. This is from the 70s. This is unbranded. I could not find a brand in it, so that means this probably came with another top. This is probably a two-piece set. This does have pockets, and by pockets I mean pockets. It has two pockets and I can fit my whole hand in there. This is 100% polyester. This is from the 70s. It's this gold filigree type work, a little bit of box pleating up at the top to give it a little bit of movement. Again, a nice swishy skirt. And there is that, all of those very tiny waisted. And then now I'm going to, before I get into the rest of the items, have last week Bob take you on a field trip to show you at least a little bit of what happened last week.
Thanks. So this field trip is going to be a little bit of a two-parter, and that is because of the fact that I found a giant box of books that I hadn't listed, and part of the reason why I hadn't listed them is because I squirrel books away in my house on every facet, which is why a lot of Money Pile Mondays have been a lot of me listing books, is because if there is a flat surface or a box that is not full, I have squirreled away some books in there. And one of the boxes I found out had half books that I had set aside for my book channel, and the other half was stuff that I actually wanted to list. But the ones that I did not feel like it was worth going up on eBay were Westerns. And the reason why I felt like they weren't worth going up on eBay is because I actually already had 2 lots of Westerns and they weren't selling, which is also why it's a two-parter, because basically like Fix It Friday as well. So I took down those 2 listings of Western book lots, and I'm going to take the other 3 Western books, and we are now at 2nd and Charles, and I'm going to see if they will take them or not. So I paid probably like 25 cents or less for each of these books, and we're gonna see if I can, 1, get my money back, and or 2, get a credit that'll make it worth it, because as I just said, I buy a lot of books. So let's go find out. Alright, so that was great because they actually ended up taking everything, and with the store credit I was able to pick up this book, which is Hellspark by Janet Kagan. Now, I don't know how much this book is worth, but it is one of 2 of her full-length novels, the other one being a Star Trek book. So I also checked BookTube, and no one has reviewed this yet, so I would be the first one if I ever get around to it, which this is the point in the video that I say I have a book channel, and you should go over there if you want to see if I ever review that, and do just to love and support me. Or not, you do you. But that does mean that I have 2 failed listings gone. So Fix It Friday, I fixed it. I got a book out of it. And then also I actually ended up getting 5 things out of my death pile because I did not realize how many books I had put in there. So it was 3 items I found in that one container, and then 2 other ones that I had left over from a previous Money Pile Monday. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. So that's 5 books gone out of my death pile, 2 listings gone, and I have a new book to read for my channel. So I'm gonna give you back to Bob now, and she's gonna go over the rest of the stuff I listed.
So I hope you enjoyed that field trip. I'm really glad that I was able to get 5 things out of my death pile, as well as 2 items, well, 2 listings out of my store that were kind of, and I was able to actually turn all of that into a much more valuable book. 1, because I can review it for my book channel, which has value, and then 2, also it actually is more valuable than the books I turned in, which is great. So this is a suit, and I made sure to put in the listings, which you can check because my eBay store is down below, that the items are sold separately. So I did put absolutely gorgeous photographs of these items in there with like fully styled and whatever. But because of the fact that this is a size small and this is an extra small, like this I can put on, this I would absolutely just hulk out of trying to get it over my thighs is a thing. because this is a size 10, but that's a 70s size 10, which is a modern size like small. And this is a size 8, which is a modern size extra small. They're actually completely different, so I'm guessing these were suit separates that were purchased. But this is Breckenridge, and this is a wool blend. Again, another beautiful skirt with pockets. So this is again Barbie core, very pink, wool polyester blend, and this is also union made. And then I have a jacket, and I thought the jacket was really neat because it had it has the normal lapel, but the back of it stands up. It's like a banded collar in the back, but a beautiful notched lapel in the front. It does have a little bit of padding in the shoulders, but that's very normal. But I just thought that this was an absolutely gorgeous thing. Also, this is one of the few suits that I'm going to show you where the front pockets are actual pockets and not fake pockets, and we love that. So this finally got listed. It is absolutely gorgeous suit set. Again, if you want to see how I styled it, you can look at my eBay store and check it out for yourself. This is a Pendleton piece, I believe, as soon as I can actually find the thing. So Country Sophisticates is an 80s subline from Pendleton. There you go. It does have the shoulder pads, and I styled it a couple of different ways in order to try to get this sold, because I realized these vintage pieces, they either need a body or they need to be styled in order to really give them a good chance of selling. These do have the shoulder pads in it. It has the balloon sleeves. It has a matching pussy bow, but it actually isn't attached, so I styled it to where you could either have it as it's mentioned, or you could tie it around the waist, and I styled it both ways so that way you could see. But very cute, and I made sure that when I styled it with a contrasting color. I think that'll really help it pop. I think probably one of the most valuable things I have learned how to do as a vintage seller is, 1, learn how to tie a tie, and 2, learn how to do vintage stylings of ascots, which I will actually link that video up above if you are interested. It's Pinset Tailoring, and he did a whole bunch of different stylings for antique cravats and ascots, and that's how I made that look really pretty, is I learned how to do that. You don't have to do that. It's just a niche interest of mine that has paid off in other ways. So we have a Country Sophisticates red blouse that I just showed you, and a Country Sophisticates suit set. But again, I listed these separately because this is a size small and this still is a size 26 waist. This is a silk blend, so it's silk, rayon, and polyester. So this is a suit set that's meant to be worn in the warmer months. Does have a little bit of padding in the shoulders because, again, this is an 80s brand. Nice light gray suit with functioning pockets, except for in the front where these are fake, and we are all sad about that. But again, something that looks really lovely on the mannequin and styled, and I wish things matched because then I could just sell the suit as it was, which is especially important when you get to the actual Pendleton that I found here. So this is another beautiful Pendleton gray suit, except this is a gray plaid, which is what Pendleton is known for. It's known for its woolen plaids. And again, we have an extra small bottom and a small top. But this, again, a wool suit with no holes. This is lined. This does not have pockets, which is very disappointing. And I have sold these separately because they don't match. Again, I styled it, but I did it a little bit differently. Again, I'd like to do contrast, but I kept with the colorways. And I actually, this is from the 60s. This is Pant Her, which is a weird thing. This is a puff sleeve polyester shirt, and I use the dark academia tag because if you look at it with just this and the skirt, it is very dark academia. So I put that up there, and this has a striped paisley, which is just interesting. So Puff sleeve items I cannot keep in store. So if you find anything with a puff sleeve, so puff sleeve is going to have just a puff up here. I'm sure the picture over here does it more justice, but it's beautiful. And pretty much anything that I put puff sleeve as the keyword in the title sells. I don't think I have any puff sleeve other than that currently in my store. And this is a more recent, this is from the 90s. This is Pendleton as well. There's a 90s Pendleton skirt. This is just a nice slate gray and a size 28. So this is something that I could actually wear. But I'm not, because I have no reason to have a woolen skirt, and I would much rather have a circle skirt versus a pencil skirt. But this has nice working pockets and a back zip and a split back, so you can still walk in it, which is great. And then we have another Pendleton plaid jacket. This is like a maroon and slate gray and dove gray jacket. This did not have a matching skirt with it in my giant pile of vintage here. I could not find a matching skirt, so actually she might have probably worn this together because it looks very well together, which is why I styled it all together, but you'll see that when I get to the next item. Again, another beautiful Pendleton coat. Again, these are fake pockets. We are sad about this. I was very sad that this does not fit me because, again, these were size small, and while I could put them on, I cannot move my arms. I've talked about having broad shoulders and hulking out of stuff, which is why I prefer oversized men things. Absolutely gorgeous though. Also, the sleeves are too short because this lady was tiny in every sense of the word. This is from the 70s. You can tell that for many reasons. One, it says Dacron polyester, so that was something that was very popular to put on stuff in the late 60s throughout the 70s. If you're curious as to why a lot of clothing in the 50s, 60s, and 70s was polyester, it's the same reason why carpeting and shag carpeting was really popular in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It's because plastic became very cheap to produce after World War II. And because of that, it was like a new affordable flooring, which is why when you look at home renovation shows and they buy a, an old house and there's just disgusting shag carpeting everywhere in the house and they take it up and it has beautiful hardwoods, that's why, is because hardwood was the normal consistent thing. Hardwood and tile was what you had on the floors in the 30s and 40s. And then the new generation wanted the new space age cool thing, which was plastic, which is what the carpeting is made out of and what the clothes were made out of. So that's how come a lot of clothing in the 50s, 60s, and 70s are made out of polyester if it's high-end stylish stuff, because we would think of it as a cheaper material. But then, yes, it was a cheaper material, but it was like the new fashionable material, if that makes sense. That was a tangent that you all didn't need to have, but I hope you enjoyed. This is also Union made as well. There is a lovely little Union made tag here. This is the 70s and 90s tag as well. A lot of people, when they see the blue tag, they think it's the 50s and 60s tag, but it has to have just the AFL logo at the bottom. If it has the AFL-CIO logo, that means that it is the 70s to 90s logo. Again, more information that you really need to know, unless you like super into vintage clothing, in which case you probably already know that. But this is another item that has a pussy bow. This is made out of it feels like a scuba material. I also have a couple of 70s pantsuits made out of this material, not this black material, but I put this as dark academia. This actually has a zip line. This has a zip line closure. I'm just kidding. This has a zippered closure in the back to get into it. And I styled this, I think, very well with the whole outfit and the dark academia whole look. Hoping that this will sell. It also has the balloon sleeves as well and the tailored pushy bow. But we'll see if that does it. I think that's great. Pretty much also anything that I have that has a dark academia tag. That seems to still be a really popular trend. So hope that that sells it. Also, Deadstock, vintage 70s Deadstock. This is 100% cotton. This originally was $40. This is the Villagers. Again, another item with the 70s to 90s tag on it, but this is very much a late 70s colorway. Browns, greens, and camel color and orange and like golden yellow were very popular in late 70s to early 80s. I pulled this as a 70s. This is a lovely little pencil skirt. This is velvet. Does not have pockets. Disappointing. But it's absolutely beautiful skirt. It has a split front so you can walk instead of a split back. Again, another kind of saucy thing that was very popular again in the late 70s, early 80s. So like 1978 to 1982. This is the time period that this was probably from. So there you go. If you want to know why I know that, it's because that is when my mom was a young woman, and there are lots of pictures of her at NASA wearing stuff very similar to that. I know that. Also because my mom kept a lot of the stuff throughout the years from that time period, so I'm very, very accustomed to it. This is a John Mayer piece. Again, a lovely mid-century brand from the 60s, 70s. Well, it's mostly the 50s, 60s, and 70s. John Mayer, not to be confused with the singer. When I put it on the mannequin, it wasn't a puff sleeve. It's just a balloon sleeve, but it's like a dramatic balloon sleeve because like look how wide that sleeve is. So I think it's just a dramatic balloon sleeve with a slight gather in the back. Very cute. This did have a matching tie scarf, but that is missing, but someone else can put something else there if they want to. And then the very last piece, I was so sad that this didn't fit because this is the most glorious jacket. And what I mean by it doesn't fit is that I can't move my arms in it, but it is probably one of the most beautiful jackets I have ever had the privilege to look at. So I'm going to put it on now because again, I can put it on, I just can't really move in it, and I don't feel like you guys are going to understand how glorious this jacket is. It is like the perfect, as you can tell, like brown orange rust color, and it is velvet. Oh. And it is absolutely stunning. It's still about 2 inches too short in the arms for me because again, I am a tall lady, but as far as fitting me here, it fits perfectly. It's just the shoulders and arms like normal that doesn't fit, but this is, it's just an absolutely stunning jacket. It does have a couple of little wear spots. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show you because I can't see where they are. There's a two little wear spots on the velveteen where you can't, where it's rubbed because this is a vintage jacket, but it is just absolutely gorgeous color, gorgeous cut. If I was a smaller woman and both the height and the width way, I would not depart with this jacket because it is gorgeous, but unfortunately I cannot shrink myself in both ways that quickly or ever. So beautiful, beautiful jacket. It's from Personal. This is a size 10, but obviously it's not actually a modern size 10. This is from the 90s. I'm guessing this is early 90s, like maybe like 1990, because this is more like an 80s cut and brand, but it is made in China, so it might be late 80s, early 90s, but I'm just putting it as 90s because that is pretty safe when you have a made in China piece like that. And the pockets are real. They're beautiful They're beautiful patch pockets that are actually pretty deep and would fit most of a modern phone in it, but I can totally see someone who is an Instagram influencer wearing something like that and just being absolutely smashing in it. Although that is technically more of a fall color, but I would personally wear that color all year round because it's just gorgeous. So I'm gonna put on my men's sweater that I've had forever. Again, I love oversized men's sweaters because I have full range of motion here. But that is everything I listed. It is 20 pieces that I listed, plus, you know, last week Bob took you on a field trip. So I hope this encouraged you to get some stuff listed yourself. I still have a couple of hundred vintage pieces still to list from this particular haul, so you'll be seeing more of this next week. And I hope you guys learned something, and if not, I hope you guys at least had a good time. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, bye! Bye.